What's up, guys? Tukey here, back again. This is another episode of my Fantasy Draft Franchise Mode series with the St. Louis Blues. We are just shy of the halfway point of this new season. And in this episode, hopefully we get through the remainder. But we do have some things we need to focus on first, mainly with roster depth and the fact that we are quickly going to make a trade. Now, forward-wise, I think we're good. I mean, our top six is pretty solid, and then obviously you have the fact that Alex Ovechkin, even at 36 years old, is still playing like Alex Ovechkin. I think we're good there. Defensively, we're going to trade Thomas Chabot, and I have somebody in mind. It's not a huge name. It is someone who fits in to the third pairing top six defenseman role. But aside from that, we're good. Our goaltending's been all right. Carey Price, this might be our last season with him, just so that we make sure we don't get stuck with an $8 million cap hit on the last 2 years of his contract. But you look down in the AHL, the amount of, 84s, 83s, 82s, 80s were good. Defensively, we could use another depth, really one or two players. We could use another strong right-handed shot, and we could definitely use another strong left-handed shot. Although keeping Furtak in the lineup would be nice. So we could potentially trade Josh Fierro, but he is making good progress. So a couple of interesting decisions to make there. And then Vitaly Fedorov, our medium franchise goalie. The reason why this series is continuing, I don't remember him jumping up to a 74. I can't remember the end of last episode too well. I felt like he was still like a 71, a 72. And then because I backed out of the mode and loaded it back up, he jumped. I don't know. But some questions still. We could definitely use another goaltender just to make sure. Because, say, if DiPietro goes down, we might need a half-decent backup. But first thing here, and actually there was a team originally, the Ottawa Senators, that I was going to look at for the potential... man, did we go for him? I was thinking of getting Mike Riley, who has 1 year left, a pretty decent cap hit. But I was tempted to get Mike Riley. But then I also thought on Montreal, when I was thinking, man, we might not need that backup goaltender. I was looking at Brady Shea, who would be a pretty solid pickup, but he does have a bit more term on that contract. But now that I think about it, because we could also use another goaltender, even though Markov is improving, we need another goaltender. So we're going to go for Mike Riley, and Marcus Russo is there as well. Both on 1 year deals, so perfect to get depth-wise. And Thomas Chabot will be traded to the Ottawa Senators. Go figure. Just not worth trying to go through, the freaking hurdles it would take to get his morale back. As it is, our top four is locked up. It is Doughty, it is Oliulivi, Liljegren, and Sergachev. Doughty, 32 years old. Depending on how long we go in this series, we might see the day that we trade Drew Doughty. But until then, I mean, that's a right-handed defenseman anyway, so we wouldn't have to worry about it. Let's see what we can get now. We could tack on another pick, and I know people hate the way, or some people hate the way I'm able to just snag picks off of these teams. But let's see if this goes through. Mike Riley, Russo, a second and a third for Thomas Chabot. It did not. How about just the second? I'm okay with that. And you know what? We could have gotten more, but I'm cool with that. Thomas Chabot is off to Ottawa. And now that I look at the time of this episode, already, we might not make it to the end of the regular season. Or maybe we will, and this episode will be an hour and a half long. I don't know. But let's see. Russo, hopefully, can make it through waivers. Please. Okay, good. I'll take that. I was a bit worried about that. I actually didn't even double check to see if he was on a two-way deal. We are going to have to go, no, I'm not assistant coach, edit lines or whatever. Best lines. Let's get this set up quickly. It is funny that it puts Tyson Jost up there. Instead of Strome, we'll go with Keller as the center. And then from there, we are good. We are good. And then defensively, it is Riley and Dmitry Koltsov on that third pairing. Not too bad at all. Down in the AHL, let's get that goaltending switched. Fedorov will be the starter. And, man, I forgot that they signed Kulmala for me. But Russo, will be the backup for now. So that's not too bad. He's not like the ideal guy, but I mean, if Price and DiPietro both go down, we kind of deserve to not, make it too far. Like, that's just the game telling you, yeah, you're pretty much screwed. The problem we have now, and actually we do have a little bit of cap space, can we sign anybody half decent through free agency? And now that I think about it, we're definitely not making it to the end of the season. So I'm going to take my time with this, and we're going to get someone good. And this will be our trade deadline special, even though we're like a month or two away from the deadline. So our cap situation is very, very close. But is there, and actually, goaltending? I don't even know what our contract spot was like. Goaltending, we could have gone with Dreger. Damn, we could have gone with Dreger. Huh. Well, you know what? How many contract spots do I have? You have no idea how much I just want to restart this episode and undo that trade and then just sign a free agent, but I won't. I will not. We will figure this out. We are going to get this team hopefully expertly crafted. Oh boy. Okay. Well, I might have fucked up a little bit there, but that's okay. That is okay. We can recover. We can recover. I am going to try and sign a different goaltender other than Rusu, and then maybe once we get closer to the trade deadline, we'll flip Rusu just to get rid of him, and we will actually, so you know what? That's exactly what we'll do. We'll sign one of these goaltenders just as we approach the deadline, and then I'll flip Rusu, and hopefully enough time passes that we're not punished for immediately trading someone away. So we need another strong left-handed defenseman. Mark Stahl, will you accept a two-way deal? No, you won't. Auvitu will. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. Johan Auvitu is available. Philip Larsson's not a lefty. Kevin Connaughton might not be a bad shout. Will he accept a two-way deal? Yes, he will. So we're going to send Kevin Connaughton an offer, and we'll see if he accepts that. And in the meantime, let's move forward just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, yeah, general improvements. General improvements to this team, trying to get us into a good spot, because that we've paid for that a couple of times. Not properly paying attention to defensive depth and having it be somewhat of an issue. Now, Connaughton's here. That is good. We'll bring him down to the AHL level, and we'll scratch Fierro, because I really want Furtak to be in the lineup. But now down in the AHL, we will have Wesley and Connaughton as our first two call-ups, which is much better, a much better situation than we've had in the past. So Josh Fierro will be scratched. Connaughton is already down here. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And just like that, the AHL is looking that much better. We could flip Riley Bruce as well. He's not going to... I mean, he's a good shutdown defenseman, physical player, but he's not going to make the NHL level. So we might not be done with the changes. We might not be done with the changes. But let's move forward a little bit, try to get as close to the trade deadline as we can, or at least far enough as to where I feel I can trade Rusu, and we'll probably trade him along with others. Clear out some of those contract spots. And, yeah, really strengthen up this team as a whole. We lose 4-1 to the Lightning, who are not a very good team at all. And that is unfortunate, but we still have a 7-point lead on Minnesota and a 10-point lead on Chicago. So I am not too worried. DiPietro will get the start. And actually, now that I think of it, we could get an improvement on Pavel Zacha as well. He's not too bad. I'm not concerned about the point total. Nah, you know what? Nah, screw it. He's earned his spot. He's earned a spot. This NHL team, at its healthiest, playing at its best, should be able to win the Stanley Cup this year, hands down, no questions asked. Like I said, the only thing that could probably derail that would be a ton of injuries. Now, can DiPietro get the win against Philly? If he does, he will continue to start. He lost in the shootout, so I'm going to give him the Dallas game. And if we lose this one, regardless of how we lose it, we'll put Carey Price back in. We lost in a shootout again. DiPietro gets us 2 out of 4 points. Not terrible. But Carey Price will be back between the pipes as we play the Maple Leafs. Unfortunately, I'm trying to think, how far will we have to sim to make sure that we can trade Rusev? Fedorov's up to a 75. God damn. That is crazy. That is crazy. I was thinking we might be about 2 years away. If he makes it to a 78 overall, we'll say. If he makes it to that, I think with the off-season progression, he could be an 82 overall by this time next, or by the start, really, of next season. So I do think 2 years from now, he will absolutely be our starter. So whether or not we give Carey Price one more year after this will be the question. Right now, we are on a hell of a losing streak. What is going on? Holy shit. Out of nowhere and quietly, we are on one hell of a losing streak. We can't turn it around against Colorado either. All right, well, let's make some lineup changes because this is unacceptable. As the Blackhawks caught the Minnesota Wild, and now we only have a 6-point lead in our division. Not good. Dalcall performing well. McDavid, okay, but that's good. Dylan Strome, holy shit, pal. Oh my god. Clayton Keller's not doing that well either. Klim Kostein's not doing that well. That second line is killing us. That second line is killing us. Third line's doing okay. That is rough. That is rough. To the point where I'm dropping Strome down to the third line, even though he's a first line guy. And there is, as Lavin dropped a point, but he's now up to a third line scoring forward. That is weird. There's a strong chance we might trade Dylan Strome before this episode's over, which is definitely not what I plan on. We might trade him right now, actually. That might make sense. Jost is the better center, face-off-wise, and I'm sorry if I'm moving through those very quickly. Lavin's better defensively. Okay, that works. Keller, Mateos, Kostin. Kostin is a first-line guy. Keller's a first-line guy, but that's all right. You know, I think we're going to try to trade Dylan Strome right now. I'm going to try to pick up a fourth-line right wing. But Dylan Strome, he had 42 points last year, 15 points in the playoffs, 17 points on a second line when you're playing with Kostin and Keller. That's not good enough, and I am going to blame him specifically. So we're going to try to pick up a fourth-line right wing, as well as just any general depth that we can get. And that might be the time to trade Riley Bruce as well. So a fourth-line right wing, a strong depth defenseman for the AHL to help bolster the Chicago Wolves, and there will probably be draft picks in here as well. This episode has really taken a turn. This is not what I expected this episode to be at all. But it's these little tweaks that you have to make. Let's see, Colorado and Detroit. We will talk to Detroit first. Of course, they are an Eastern Conference team. And we will see what they have. And the good thing is, too, if we get draft picks here, they have a chance to be pretty good, unless Dylan Strome really turns it on. Lord knows how many times that's happened at this point, where we trade somebody, and they decide to turn into an all-star. But let's see here. Overall-wise, who do we have? Lindbergh's a third. How do we have, or where do we have any fourths or depth players that fit the role? I'd really like some right-handers. We could get the enforcer, Mackenzie Stewart, 26 years old. Not the best physical category for an enforcer. That would be interesting. We have flirted with having enforcers on this team before. So they don't have exactly what we would like, which is a shame. Andy Walensky? He wouldn't be a bad pickup. We could go with Walensky. Damn, what do we want to do here? Cal Foote is an option. Low elite, so he's not going to turn into what he should have. We could pick up Cal Foote. You know what? I might get that enforcer. It's tough to say if it'll work, but it might be worth the shot. So, Mackenzie Stewart, Cal Foote, and do they have... No, they don't necessarily have a goaltender that we would want, and I forgot to hit the proper button. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. So, let's see. Again, it would be Cal Foote. I don't know how I feel about having this enforcer, and I get it. You know, there are other players I could get, for sure, just because, I mean, they don't have to be a right-handed guy. It's not a requirement. It's a preference on my part. But let's see. Well, Justin Bailey, but he's a second-line forward. I want someone who would actually play the role and not complain about it. Abdul Kader still has a terrible contract. Athanasiou might not be... You know what? We'll go for him. We're probably going to be seeing a lot more of him. But we'll go for him. And for shits and giggles, I'm going to pick up the enforcer as well. For shits and giggles. So Foote, Athanasiou, and Mackenzie Stewart. And let's see. Dylan Strome has a lot of trade value. My God. Now, we would have too many skaters, of course. So let's tack on as many people as we can here, because they can afford to take it. They had contract spots. So let's see. Let's go to defenseman first. And we will tack on Riley Bruce, because he's not going to work out that well. And he'd just be a depth guy anyway. Goaltending. Can we tack on Rusu and not pay for it? Detroit would be over the cap. Son of a bitch. We could retain on Strome's salary. How are they in that bad of a situation and they're losing? If we retain, I mean, it should be up at the end of the year anyway, right? We wouldn't necessarily have to worry about it, because it would only be until the end of the year. So we could get this to work. I'm all right with retaining salary. I'm fine with that. So that would be the three guys there. Can I tack on one more guy just to free up space? That is the question. One more player just to free up another contract spot to make sure we can afford everybody that we want to afford, or that we want to have on our roster, I should say. Rhodes, high AHL top 6. He's not playing this year. You know, I'm going to tack him on there as well. And who was the other left wing there at the bottom? Wolf? West. It was West. 22, he still has a chance. So let's see here what else we can do. I did not think this episode would go down this way. Prospect-wise, any unsigned prospects that they have, first and foremost, that we could look at. They do have another defenseman in Joe. Wow, really? Joe Frazier, huh? Okay. Joe Frazier played... Well, he wouldn't play at the Joe Louis anymore, but let's see. Prospects, Gauthier. Daniel Gauthier, a second-round pick, 32nd overall. And he is signed, though, technically. Unsigned, you have Marian Suchi, I believe. Close enough to that. All right, so it's going to have to be draft picks, as if we don't have enough. But that first-round pick has plenty of value. Holy shit, this is turning into a blockbuster. Let's see. To be safe, I'm going to also put on the second-round pick the year after. I would be all right with this. Cal Foote, Athanasiou, Stewart, a first and a second next year for Dylan Strome, Bruce Rusu, and Rhodes. Would this go through? It does not. Okay, well, again, the second round pick was just to play it safe. How about a third way down the line? No. Okay, so apparently the value is... that first round pick's value has to be crazy. That's exactly what it is. That first round pick's value is worth more than Strome. We can get it to work, but we'd actually have to give up more. And you know what? Some people might think it's a bit cheap that I'm going to be trading for what's going to be more than likely at least a top 5 pick. I'm going to go for it. I mean, as it is, look at our picks. Kind of ridiculous already. So how about New Jersey's 4th? Will that help it go through? It will not, and I'm cool with that because now we can give up a 3rd, and we'll give up Buffalo's. Because why not? Will that go through? No, because I fucking hate situations like that. Oh, we'd have to put Ben Hutton on waivers. Boo fucking who? It's Ben Hutton. Why would you have to put Ben Hutton on waivers anyway? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You already have too many defensemen. This is bullshit. All right, well, Ben Hutton, what's your situation looking like? 1 year left? Fucking hell. All right, well, how about... I don't know if I can get this to work now. Ben Hutton, I might get in trouble for this. We tack on Riley. We'll go with Hutton instead, which is a shame because I'm pretty sure he was top 4, and he might complain about ice time. Fuck. Come on, Detroit. After all this, I can't be like, all of a sudden, let's make a different deal. We have to get this to work. Will that go through? No. We have to get this to work. I refuse, after all of this work, to try and change it up. We are getting this deal done. How about your 3rd round pick in return? I'm worried about trading Russo and Riley this early, but let's see what happens. Sweeten it just a touch. All right, we'll throw in a 2nd. We'll throw in Buffalo's. Will that go through? Yes, it will. Dylan Strome is off to Detroit in a blockbuster. There is no other way to describe that trade. That was a blockbuster. Cal Foote will get sent down. He is affected by waivers. Fucking shit. I didn't pay attention to that either. All right, let's see here. Is that the full 12? Nope, there's one too many. That would be Stewart. I don't think Cal Foote makes it through waivers. So that's a whole different issue on whether or not we send him down. He is a righty. I'm not getting rid of Kolsov, so Cal Foote will sit there. He'll sit there. I mean, we'll have no choice. We have no choice. I'm willing to risk Stewart and sending him down, but no way on Cal Foote. And Stewart lost a lot of morale, apparently. Yeah, he did. What? Oh, he is listed as a 4th liner. Fuck me. Ah, God. I'm off on this episode. See, and this is why you don't rush it, but when you're recording an episode and you don't want things to get too boring, you make dumb mistakes like that. And as it is, my fucking, I want to keep this video 20 minutes, is out the door and was out the door quite a while ago. But let's see, Lavin is the 3rd liner. Athanasiou is a very strong center. So that's good, and this team is still looking all right. Still looking all right. It'll be intriguing to see what the second line could do now with Mateos centering them. And then Ben Hutton. How much will he complain about being a 3rd guy, a 3rd pairing guy? And actually, already, I'm going to put Koltsov in instead of Hutton. And then the question is, what do we do with Cal Foote? Because I don't want to lose him. He was not exactly the centerpiece of that trade, but I simply don't see how we are able to get rid of him without losing him on waivers. Like, he has to sit there, and if he starts complaining about ice time, that's a whole nother issue. But for now, let's go best lines in Chicago, and we'll fix that after. I still want to try and sign a better backup goalie and another right-handed defenseman. So this episode is definitely going to be half an hour long, but it is what it is. God, I wish I could just trade Cal Foote right now. I really do. I really do. I wish I could flip him and Hutton right back to Detroit. But I'd probably get in trouble, or my players would lose a lot of morale. And I don't know if that's worth it. Is that worth it? Is the question. So it would be, I don't know. You know what? Fuck it. If we have to deal with consequences, we'll fucking deal with it. We will fucking deal with it. They're not going to be able to take them back, though. So that's the thing. We couldn't get Riley. We can't get Riley back, but what we could do is go after the other defenseman I was talking about, that being Brady Shea. And I wonder if I can get this to work. That's probably going to be too expensive for them. No, it wouldn't be. They just have too many skaters. Okay. Right. Well, fuck. I don't want to pick up another skater either. This is a dilemma. This really is. So Brady Shea for Cal Foote, because I don't want to risk losing Cal Foote for free. So let's see if we can get this to work. I'm then going to try and trade Hutton just for a draft pick, and we'll deal with the consequences. That won't go through. I can't imagine we'll be able to get too much more out of Montreal, if anything. That went through. Okay, so Brady Shea is here. This has turned into a ridiculous episode. Never expected this, and I don't make trades like this, too often. But, alright, who can we flip Ben Hutton to? That is the question. Tampa? Can Tampa take him for just draft picks? That is my question. Can they take him for just a draft pick? No, they cannot. Vancouver? Please? No? Shit. Okay. Washington? Please? Nope. Okay, well, this could be going better. It really could be. Columbus? Please? Okay, we found ourselves a trading partner. The Columbus Blue Jackets. How about just a second and a third for Ben Hutton? They didn't take that. I'm surprised. I'm going to be cheap here, though. It's impossible. This is how I end up with so many picks. It's ridiculous. And they'd have to put someone on waivers. You fuckers. Chicago. I'll trade him to Chicago. Don't care. Second round pick. Good. And we'll tack on the third. Will that go through? Please, for the love of God. Ben Hutton is off to Chicago. Right. Still need that extra defenseman and that extra goaltender. Holy shit, what is going on in this episode? My God. So we should have the contract spots to make this work. I swore that, just dropped it down to 48. It's going to suck if I have to go back and trade another guy, but whatever. We will do what we have to do. So defensively, we need somebody. Larson would be an okay option. Not tremendous, though. Right. What do we want to do here? Larson's not terrible. Dylan DeMello wouldn't be bad. Patrick Nemeth is more of what I'm looking for. Christian Folin. You know what? Christian Folin wouldn't be a bad shout. Who else was I talking about that might take the offer? Maybe that was somebody else. Christian Folin. See if we can sign you for the rest of the year. And then we go to goaltenders. And we will try, if this wants to load, we will try to bring in Chris Dreger for the rest of the year. And finally, if this works out, we will have the team that I somehow took this long to assemble. I mean, spending 10 minutes to trade Dylan Strome is certainly not what I expected to happen. We'll play the Winnipeg Jets. Dreger is here, Folin is here, and we lost in an overtime or a shootout to the Jets. So we continue to lose games, which is not good for anybody. But let's see. Scratch players. All right, good. I put them down in the AHL. So let's get these lines set. After all of this, all of these moves, this has been ridiculous. So we are good. Athanasiou now on the fourth line. Dylan Strome is out. The defensive merry-go-round results in Brady Shea being on the third pairing. And, man, I don't know what else to say as far as that goes. Down in the AHL, hopefully Stewart can bounce back, but we'll see what happens there. The big thing is the goaltending, as we will have Dreger as a nice backup in case Fedorov goes down. But Fedorov will absolutely still be the starter moving forward. Defensively, Connaughton, Wesley. We can have Phillips with Folan and Fierro with Bjugstad. So the defense is looking much better. I am going to scratch Fierro for Furtak, though. That makes a lot more sense. And the rest of the AHL, is there anybody important that is now scratched because of all of these moves? That is the question. Comtois is scratched. Kennan's as well. Kennan's not so important. But we need to get Comtois into the lineup. And how exactly are we going to do that, you might ask? I don't quite know yet. Nope, it's not going to be for McCabe. That is going to be for Maxim Markov? Maybe? And it could be for Sutter or McCabe. I like Sutter. Yeah, it's going to be for Maxim Markov. So let's get Comtois back into the lineup. And let's see from here. You know what? I'm not even too worried. We'll just go by overall. Let's drop... fuck if I know. God damn it. Now you guys know why I do jump cuts. Now you know. Stan West. We'll put McCabe over here. Baba boom. And we are good. I'm content with that. I am very much content with that. Both teams, as we are half an hour into this, both teams, I think, undisputedly look better than what they did at the start of this episode, and that turned into the goal. Well, you could argue the NHL side is a bit weaker. We just lost Thomas Chabot, and we lost Dylan Strome. Did we bring in decent replacements for them? Yes, we did. The big question is, what can Mateos do on that second line? Because in this episode, we were awful. We were awful. And now we only lead the division by 3 points over the surging Chicago Blackhawks. We are in a race here. No doubt about that. We are not performing at as high of a level as we could, and the Blackhawks have a game in hand. So this is going to be a crazy race to the finish. We are still up there in the President's Trophy race, but we've played quite a few games. The next episode, who knows what happens? Of course, we will still have plenty of time. We haven't even hit the All-Star game yet. We will have plenty of time to make more fine tweaks if we need to. But you look at these trades, the Thomas Chabot trade, the Dylan Strome trade, flipping Cal Foote and Ben Hutton. You guys saw the draft pick situation, which is still ridiculous, and there's no way to solve that. So I don't know, guys. This episode has gone on long enough, though. If you have made it to this point, you are a champion, and I cannot thank you enough. Again, I'm trying to get these episodes. Whenever I try to make these episodes around 20 minutes long, they always end up near a half an hour, or in this case, over a half an hour, which isn't the intention. I want these videos to be a bit more approachable, but then again, it is, middle / towards the end of a series. I don't know. As always, those guys, As always, though, guys, easy for me to say. I appreciate your support, and of course, support me, support the video, support the channel in any way you deem necessary. Let me know what you thought of this marathon of an episode, and I will see you guys in the next one, where we hopefully, finally, finish up this season, and hopefully we end up being division champions again. Otherwise, I don't know what to think, because we have Connor McDavid, Drew Doughty, and Carey Price. We should be winning every game. All 82.